Welcome, everyone. Hello, my name is Peter No, and welcome to our doctor's call with Dr. John Harmon. How you do? Before I bring out Dr. John Harmon, let me just introduce him really quick. Dr. John Harmon has been a doctor of chiropractic care for over 31 years. He's board certified in oxidative medicine, using of ozone and oxygen for healing, certified in chiropractic extremity practitioner, board certified in quantitative EEG and neurofeedback, founder and owner of Clear Mind Center of Idaho, where they help people get their brains right. He's a father of 8 and grandfather of 22 with 2 on the way. And look at all his children here in LifeWave with him. He has already given birth to hundreds and hundreds. So Dr. John Harmon, thank you so much for always being here for our team. And we always get excited on the last Saturday of the month because we get to hear your knowledge and wisdom that you share with our team. Here, I'm gonna pass it on to you now.
All right, well, thank you very much. My Halloween costume for the day is my hairpiece, my brown hairpiece. My hair is turning brown through these with the use of the patch. It used to be a lot more gray. So I guess I'm grateful for that. Wasn't that important to me. But thank you for having me on the call today. I'm excited to share this information with you. I get to talk about the science stuff, and I want to start out first for those who weren't on the previous call to just give a little bit of background about the company itself. So we're talking about the GHK copper peptide in just a few minutes. But you need to know why it is that we're talking about that peptide. And the company called LifeWave was founded, it's a 15-year-old company, and David Schmidt has invented and discovered some of the most brilliant biohacks I've ever heard of in my 30-year practice. And specifically today, we're talking about the X39 stem cell activating patch that looks like this. And it's very, very important that we talk about this briefly before we even talk about the GHK copper peptide and what is the connection between the two. So David Schmidt discovered something, and I always start out by asking people if they know how a prism works. A prism, you shine the light into it, and then all of a sudden out the other end, you can see all the different spectrum of colors and frequencies out on the other side of that. Well, in this patch, there are some organic crystals, some amino acid salts, and oxygen. And David Schmidt figured out a way to concentrate or amplify biophotons and infrared heat that comes from our body. You can kind of look at this as a little Wi-Fi amplifier in a way. So it selectively reflects back into the body certain frequencies that then activate and tell the body to do different things. The X39 happens to elevate in our body a peptide called the GHK copper peptide. That's what we're going to go into a lot today. I want you all to know you don't have to know everything. You don't have to remember or know all the details about the GHK copper peptide. I would recommend that you do not try to tell everybody about it, but I want you to have a little bit of in your arsenal to answer specific questions if somebody does have more of a science question. I know there have been a lot of doctors invited to this call. I'm speaking to you right now about the science behind this patch. In that, LifeWave, well, I'm going to get ahead of myself on my slides. I don't want to steal my own thunder. How do you do that? So LifeWave, let me do a little screen share here. Can you enable my screen share?
There you go.
Okay. All right. All right. The science of the GHK copper peptide. I know some of you heard this, some of this last month, but I'm telling you, every time I go through it, I remember something different that I say, oh yeah, well, there's that. I'm Dr. John Harmon, LifeWave Executive Director. This, the whole thing is based of this patch. Excuse me. The whole thing is based on a patent that was granted in May to David Schmidt and LifeWave. And what is that? LifeWave had to prove to the U.S. Patent Office that wearing the LifeWave X39 patch elevates the GHK copper peptide in the blood. Now we can't. LifeWave had to prove that, but the things that I'm talking about in this slideshow, we can't state that that wearing the patch cures all of these things that other scientists have found out. We can't claim that. And the things that are mentioned in these slides. But here's what we know. If you can increase the amount of the GHK copper peptide in the bloodstream, all kinds of really beneficial things happen. And that's why I'm going into such detail today. And I hope this answers some of the questions about why do we have such a wide variety of things that happen that people tell us about that seems like, sometimes it seems like they're making it up, because it sounds so fantastic and more like a dream than anything else. All right. The effects of this GHK copper peptide in the bloodstream are well researched and have been over the last 40 to 50 years. This isn't something that David Schmidt discovered. It was actually discovered a long time ago that we'll talk about. The GHK copper peptide is called the anti-aging breakthrough. That's what it looks like. There's a little molecule right there. The Cu right there is where the copper ion is incorporated into the structure of this molecule. Now, don't get all confused by that. These are just what it's made of. Imagine that this is just a little switch. It's made of different amino acids. And somebody from last time said, what's an amino acid? So I want to go into that just a little bit. It's a building block of proteins. Lots of amino acids hooked together make up proteins, which make up a lot of structural things in our body. But our neurotransmitters are also made of proteins. So they have very important uses in the body. Questions that I want to answer in this presentation. What is the GHK copper peptide? What is its function? And then again, why do people get such a wide range of effects when using the X39? I mean, you can take something like, niacin. You give somebody some niacin, it gives them a flush. Pretty much if you take a lot of it, it'll do that to almost everybody if you take the certain type. And if you take this or that, it has this effect on the body. But when you have, when you increase the GHK copper peptide in the bloodstream, all kinds of beneficial effects happen, and depends on what a person is lacking or which genes need to be repaired first. That's what happens first, usually in the person. And I want to compare this to a piano. Let's say you're a concert pianist and you're going to give this recital. You're going to play this beautiful piece in Carnegie Hall. And you sit down at the piano and you start to play, and the piano is way out of tune. Imagine those are your genes. The strings are your genes, but they're not tuned. We still have our genes, but what happens is we get a lot of free radical damage to the genes, and they can't tell your body to do something. Anytime anything happens in the body, a gene has to start to code to tell it to do that. So, making brown hair, I'm starting to get, my hair starting to get browner on the top. It used to be a lot more gray, but it might be the gene that actually tells your body to make hair at all, and it receives some damage. Well, The GHK copper peptide is what our body uses to repair up to 2,200 of our genes. So it helps reset our genes to a younger state. So this is also known as a short chain tripeptide. So it's instead of a big long chain of amino acids that would make a protein, if you just imagine a really short protein, they call it a tripeptide. So they're very small. They're used as signaling molecules and also building blocks. Here's where the fun started in 1973. Dr. Laurent Picard, I think that's how we pronounce his name. The first thing that was ever observed with the GHK copper peptide is they took old, worn out liver cells, I think it was from mice, and they exposed it to GHK copper peptide, and those old cells started to produce proteins like younger cells did. That's how the whole thing started. So the more scientists looked at it, the more they came to understand its specific but very unusual properties. And here are some of the things. It naturally occurs in our blood, in our saliva, in our urine. Remember this piece right here, it'll help you. Levels of GHK decline by about 60% by the time we're 60 years old. 60, 60. Just remember that. 60% by the time you're 60 years old. It has been proven to exhibit antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, regenerative, and wound healing actions. Now, let's talk about upregulate, downregulate, pleiotropic, all these science words. Just remember, upregulate, you got to make something do something that it's not doing. Downregulate, you have to stop it from doing something because you don't want it to just keep going and going and going. So our genes have to be upregulated or downregulated, on or off. The pleiotropic that's what they're talking about, the GHK. What happens is multiple genes don't just affect one thing. You'll turn one gene on and it actually affects other genes' ability to work. So you see this domino effect. So here's a little diagram that the next one that I designed. Here it is right here. Here's gene number 1. So if we turn that one on, it has this effect on the body. Let's say that this is growing hair, but it also affects gene number 2. This might be turning hair brown. Gene number 2 affects what it's supposed to, but it also then affects gene number 3's ability to do its job. And here it is right here. Look over on the left, normal genes, normal gene expression. Now remember, each gene has 2,600 different expressions. You used to think you have a gene, it's for this, and that's what you get, that's what you're born with, but it's not. Genes can be affected by thoughts, by diet, by EMFs, all kinds of things. So we get damage to our genes right here, and then our genes are altered, which then give an altered expression. In comes the GHK copper peptide right here. The body uses it to fix the genes, and then they get reset to a normal, younger, healthy expression, which gives a younger you. Here's what it does. It adjusts the body, and this is what scientists have found out over a long period of time. They think that the GHK developed as a quick way to help humans and animals adapt to something that's happening in their environment. Like all of a sudden it got really, really cold, and our bodies were still used to having warmer weather. It makes such changes on the gene expression that we're able to tolerate that. Pregnancy, growth, starvation, infections, aggression, be able to fight off animal attacks. It happens so quickly with our genes, turning them on or off, it helps us adapt to the environment. Here it is. The GHK copper peptide affects up to 4,200 of our 21,000 genes. So this is why we get such a wide action on so many different processes in the body. It stimulates. This is very, very important for those of us who have scars. 3 weeks ago yesterday, I had knee replacement surgery, and the way the the X39 is making that incision site, the only thing I could compare this to is, the Wicked Witch of the West, and I'm melting, and she just kind of goes down into nothing. The big old scar at the incision site it's almost like it's just morphing into normal skin. It's truly incredible. I've been taking pictures. I'll share that when it's done. But it stimulates both synthesis and breakdown of collagen. Well, why would you want to break down collagen? Well, normal skin, normal collagen is like a wall, and scar tissue is just like a pile of bricks haphazardly stuck together. So we have these cross linkages like this in scar tissue, where normal collagen is flexible. And I'd like to mention at this time, if you have scars that are in the midline or that cross the midline, you really need to work on those, because they can create what's called interference fields in the body's electricity. They can cause anything from pain to a hormone dysregulation problem, because the body is trying to communicate, and there's like 100 billion impulses going between the brain and the body and the brain and the body per second. And if there's this blockage, the brain never receives information back. Did you do what I told you to do? I told you to do this. Did you do it? No, it just keeps doing it. It just keeps, whatever it's doing, it keeps sending down the message, make more of this or do this. So very important to get those scars, and the X39 is excellent for smoothing that scar tissue out. All right, wound healing increases blood vessel. This is all from research, and I've kind of compiled stuff from different papers and things, so that I can just give you the key points. But I found this one paper accelerates wound healing. It increases blood vessel formation and increases the level of antioxidant enzymes. So when you give somebody an X39, any of these things that we're talking about right now can happen in their body relatively quickly. Okay, in 2001, this group right here established that the GHK copper restored replicative vitality to fibroblasts from patients after anti-cancer radiation therapy, which that damages cellular DNA. So it was able to fix those fibroblasts that make collagen, so that they could start making normal collagen again, rather than having the damaged, very brittle, very non-flexible collagen that forms after that. It altered the expression of human genes important in neuron function by 50%. And when they say plus or minus, remember that upregulation and downregulation, the body has to be able to say do more or do less. And sometimes we actually even have to destroy neurons in the brain that we don't need anymore. We form better pathways. And the brain has to say, okay, kill those guys. I don't need those guys anymore. So that would be, ending that or building more neurons. So this was a study where they actually injected the GHK copper peptide into the skin around damaged spinal segments. And what it does, it's used now for treating damaged spinal segments. And they found that it helped repair the discs in the spinal segments. And one of the things that the GHK copper peptide does, which really interested me, was it increases stem cell production in the skin. Excuse me. increase the healing of many tissues, skin, stomach, intestine lining, bone tissue. Increase hair growth and thickness, and I can tell you personal experience, it can make it turn back to the color it used to be. It enlarged the hair follicle size. Fibrinogen, don't get confused by this, but the level of fibrinogen is the top predictor of cardiovascular or heart disease. So we get these deposits inside of our arteries of that stuff, and it reduced fibrinogen synthesis. So then the result would be fewer deposits in our arteries. It was the top recommended bioactive compound by this institute, this computer model. It was the top recommended molecule for treatment of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. It restored healthy function in COPD-affected cells. Topped, same institute, 1,309 bioactive compounds as the most recommended molecule for the treatment of human metastatic colon cancer. We have a GAPS practitioner in our office, and I just spoke to her 2 days ago, and she told me she's been working with this one client for a long time, and she started using X39. They were struggling for several years with Crohn's, with ulcerative colitis. And they added the X39 to it, bam, healed it up. And now she's incorporated that into all of her clients. She helps with the GAPS diet. She gets them on the X39. This is something that I've talked a lot about in my Wednesday night trainings, is apoptosis. And I have a slide after this, so we'll talk about it a little bit. Apoptosis is programmed cellular death, that our body goes around and has a search and destroy team, and cells get targeted for destruction because they're old and they need to be replaced. 50 to 70 billion cells a year are actually intentionally killed through the process of apoptosis. And what the GHK copper peptide did is that reset the programmed cellular death system in human cancer cells. So if you can imagine, normal cells, if when we get together in a year, there's not one cell in your body that will be the same one that exists and lives today except our nerve cells. They're not killed off. But every other cell, your liver will be totally recycled, your skin, your bones, every cell will be destroyed and rebuilt within a year. But think about cancer cells. They just keep multiplying, and there's nothing that goes around and your body says, hey, there's too many of those, kill those, or those are sick and dying, kill those. So the GHK copper peptide actually reset the programmed cellular death in human cancer cells. It happened to be human neuroblastoma, leukemia, and breast cancer, but did not affect healthy cells. Here's a slide on apoptosis. Programmed cellular death, 50 to 70 billion cells a day are destroyed and replaced. Just a little side note right here. When somebody who's had a really poor diet, all of a sudden starts to eat organic, real food, not stuff out of a bag in a box, the body in all of its infinite wisdom says, wow, I have all this good nutrition now. I can build better cells. I'm going to kill off maybe 100 billion today because I can rebuild them. I have enough nutrition. This is why some people go through a rapid detox. They feel stagnant. They feel, kind of fluish, or like they have a cold or something shortly after starting to use the X39. Tell them not to get discouraged by that. Drink more water, use the glutathione patch. We got to help the body get rid of all that stuff, all the debris of what it just killed off. So that will help you understand a little bit about that apoptosis. The NFKB P65 is believed to promote cancer growth. The GHK in this study that was done inhibited the production of the NFKB P65. You don't have to remember all that stuff. Just say that GHK inhibits a substance that's believed to promote cancer growth. That's all. Make it really simple. Reset 84 of our genes to growth inhibition or cancer inhibition. Caused adult mesenchymal stem cells to produce more growth factors and increase stem cell differentiation. That's what it's all about. We can go through all of this other stuff, which we have, and still it comes down to, we're talking about increasing your stem cells, your stem cell production. But all of those other things are side benefits, and all of them can occur by increasing the GHK copper peptide in the bloodstream. How can GHK have such a diverse action, such as healing, anti-cancer, anti-anxiety, COPD, cell repair, etc.? During the course of human development, various genes became associated with various peptides, proteins, and RNA molecules that modulate or regulate their expression for optimal animal survival. This is from a paper that was written. So they were asking questions about why can it have such a wide effect? And it was during human development, you needed something really quick to adapt to different situations. And that's where that, I think that's where that GHK copper peptide developed. Turn your genes to a younger state with the X39. So doctors, I want to talk to you for a minute. Being a healthcare practitioner for 30 years, these are the things I know go through your mind, at least they did through mine, when somebody comes to us with a new product. You know, recommend this to your patients, all of your patients need it. That was rarely the case that all of my patients need it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I have integrity. I'm only going to recommend things to my patients that they truly need. When I was introduced to this X39 patch, I checked that box because there's not one person except little kids, and I don't, people ask me, can you do it when you're going through chemotherapy and all that stuff? I said, that's up to you. I'm not going to interfere with that. But pretty much everybody else, you can recommend the X39 to because it increases the GHK copper peptide. It increases our stem cells. And so it became really easy to introduce this into my practice. And here's how it went. I don't approach them I don't tell them about this. I don't even broach the topic about the X39 patch during a visit. But as we're walking out, I'd say, like, Mrs. Smith, by the way, what do you know about stem cells? And most people know a little bit. They'll say, well, I think they're good for you, but I've heard they're really expensive. See Susan out front. She has an envelope for you, and it has some free samples of some stem cell activating patches. And all the way out, they're thinking, stem cell activating patches, wait, those are injections. And then have your front desk people show them how to apply them. And that's how you can actually really rapidly increase or implement these into your practice. And you're going to have experiences like this. You give some patches to, this actually happened to a patient or the husband who basically slumps in a chair most of the day and stares down at the floor, doesn't converse with anybody. And then the times that he's not slumped in a chair, he's asleep. So on a Thursday, they patch him. So he has Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They got 4 patches. Monday morning, the wife is in, I need some more of those patches. He's actually up around talking to people. I need them right now. It was like a total emergency. And you're going to have those things. And healthcare providers, that's what we live for, right? That's why we do what we do. We want to make a dramatic, we want to have a dramatic life-altering or add that to their life. My goal for my practice has been I want to help each person live out their life's fullest expression. If they have, how much can that wife live out her fullest expression if she has to take care of her husband? And what about him? What about if somebody has a diabetic ulcer that nobody can heal, and then you come along and put a patch by it, and then that heals up? What about getting bit by a pit viper? This actually happened as well. As a woman in Georgia, I helped her with it. She was told she's going to have a big necrotic hole in her leg. And at 10 days after she got bitten, we got a patch on her, and she didn't get a big necrotic hole. That's a life-altering thing when you have that happen. So look at it from the point of view, I'm going to have such a broad effect on this patient's health by letting them or having them use the X39. Chiropractors, speaking to you right now, what what are they most concerned about? Getting an adjustment, holding their adjustment. You know, I got adjusted, then everything went out the next day, and I'm here a couple of days later. Now there might be benefits to the doctor's pocketbook, but wouldn't it be better to have a whole army of people saying, you know what, I went to Dr. So-and-so, and he helped me hold my adjustments better than anybody that I've ever gone to, because he helped me and he gave me this patch, and it repaired my collagen, so my bones and my ligaments can now hold my own bones in alignment. That is in the best interest of the patient, not having them come back to you. This is what opens up referrals. A whole army of people go to Dr. So-and-so. He'll help you hold your adjustments because he knows what to do. So, man, I could talk about this stuff all day, and I appreciate you having me on here. I think we're going to open it up for some questions now, Peter. Is that right?
You got it, Dr. Harmon. Open away.
Okay. Are you watching the chat thread?
I am watching the chat thread. Anybody who'd love to ask any questions, we will open it up. Just raise your hand and we will call you and unmute yourself. We have Julia. Julia, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Wow, thank you so much. I hope this won't be too much. So I started using the X39 a month ago, and by day 4, I had intense flu symptoms as described. And
intense what?
Flu symptoms, which you mentioned could happen. And my friend told me that she had something similar, so I wasn't really concerned. My underlying conditions are 25 years of Epstein-Barr virus, chronic Lyme, toxic mold, CIRS, and Lyme Bartonella for about 10. I've had several rounds of horrible rashes. I don't usually get rashes unless I have had penicillin accidentally, or I'm allergic to a few foods that will create that, but it's very rare. So try to think of it positively as another detox response, but it's just getting worse. I've finally got a glutathione patch. I've been 3 of the last 4 weeks feeling pretty wretched. And so I got a glutathione patch on Wednesday, and within 2 hours, just hives all over. Took it off, did some oatmeal bathing, and I hydrate incredibly well, and minerals and all of those good things. I've got a clean diet, all of that. But it seems like what happened is it really went systemic, that it's even talking with right now. My tongue got swollen, my whole mouth and throat. Feels like I have a fever, but I don't. Blah, blah, blah. So can you help me at all? Because I'm kind of like, I don't know if I should keep using these. I also should add, I hear my friend in my ear, in my mind saying, I should probably also mention that I've been using a Healy the last couple of months. And I was feeling good about that, but she was so over the moon about these patches. I thought, if this can help me more, I'll try it. So That's it. Thank you for listening to all of that. I appreciate
Hey, you're
it.
welcome.
Thought.
And first of
Okay.
all, I've seen lots of patients over the years who've had very similar things, and I mean you got a pretty heavy burden right there. A couple of things: when something comes out in the skin, it's your body's last resort to try to get rid of it, and it tells me your liver, your lymphatic, and your kidneys are not capable of detoxing.
Okay.
You're gonna have to do one of two things: slow the process down. You're gonna take half of the paper backing off of that X39 and only do half a patch a day. And you might, even if it's too miserable for you, you might even have to skip a day or two in between the days that you are using it to slow the process and give your body a little bit of a chance to catch up. That glutathione, when you put that on, it wasn't a side effect that you got a rash. It's your body saying, holy cow, I got to get rid of this stuff, and the only thing I have left is the skin.
Right. But I'm still clearing that response since I took it off Wednesday, so I haven't used any other patches.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just go slower. I have had some life-altering things happen to me, and before the big changes, the beneficial changes happened,
Right.
I felt worse.
Right.
And I've talked to a lot of people, but having experienced it myself, I know a little bit. I never got any rashes or anything. One of the things that you might try to assist your kidneys in their detox, take the energy patch.
I don't have any energy patches, so I
Okay.
have to get some. Okay.
So consider this. The energy patches are two. There's a tan one and a white one.
Okay.
The K1 kidney point is on the bottom of the foot, on the sole of the foot, right behind the balls of the feet, called the metatarsals. You with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So to find that, I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to reach down, start at the heel, and then I'm going to run my fingers up the middle of the foot, and you'll feel it soft, and all of a sudden you bump up against the bones of the balls of the feet.
Right.
You get so far?
Yes.
That's where the kidney point is.
Yes.
But
Nice and sore.
the right one on the right is going to increase the energy through your kidney meridian and help you with, hopefully help you get rid of stuff so it doesn't have to come out of the skin.
So you're recommending to get the energy patches rather than continue with the glutathione or X39 for now?
I would stay with the glutathione.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yes, the glutathione, but do the energy patch first for a day or two. Add the glutathione. See how your body responds. Then add the X39, because you're going to kind of prep your body to handle. So once you do that X39, it goes, oh my gosh, I got all these resources now. I'm going to get rid of this, get rid of this. And so try that.
So, right. But seriously, I hear you saying go slowly. I will comment that also on the Facebook group that Dr. Karen has that I just found yesterday, she had mentioned if people are having rashes, they could even just put it on their clothes. That it not instead of on the skin.
Caused by the adhesive, yes, absolutely.
See, I'm thinking because it was so fast that it could be. I am allergic, I've got one of those super chemical sensitive bodies. So I thought I might try that. But do you also do private consultations? So because like trying to figure out when to add the other ones on. So I heard you say, get some EE patches, try to go back on the glutathione, but just a half a patch, maybe for a few hours and see what happens. Right. And you're suggesting the EE patches were for the sole of the feet. Where would you suggest the glutathione patch? I'd put it near the thyroid.
You put the glutathione near the thyroid?
Yeah, but where would you recommend? We're given these, and if you don't mind, thank you.
There are several points that are recommended in the pamphlet.
Right.
Specific acupuncture points.
Right.
That's what they're all about, is
right
acupuncture points.
Yeah, this is the point that's near the thyroid. I just don't know what the name of it is. It was in one of the pictures, but yeah.
We'll move. Okay, we'll
It's
have
okay.
a
Thank you. That was a
private
lot of
discussion
time,
with
but
you.
thank you very much. Hopefully that benefited other people too.
Yeah,
Thanks.
of course it did.
Okay.
And again, this is a doctor's call. Dr. Harmon will give his best answer without answering as much as possible. Okay, let the patch do his thing. But we also have Beth. Beth, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm in my car. So somebody was asking me that there's a cream that stimulates GHK copper peptide, and I was wondering what the difference is in terms of wearing the patch versus the cream. I mean, I looked on the in the science in the back office, and it only says it stimulates it by, you know, a certain percentage, but I don't know how that compares to
Well, I
creams.
can't speak to the cream because I've never heard of it or never used it, but the difference between a cream and the patch is that the patch, there's nothing that goes into your skin. It's not a transdermal patch. If it's a cream, you're dependent upon that cream to actually go into your body from that, whereas the patch activates your ability to make your own DHK copper peptide. That's the difference.
Great answer.
Thank you very much. Really helpful.
Okay, Sandy Panos. Sandy, you can unmute yourself, and next is Margaret. So Sandy, go ahead and mute yourself.
Okay, I'm here.
Hello.
I don't see Dr. Harmon though. I only see Peter. So let me get
he's
Dr.
on.
Harmon back
I'm
on the
still
screen.
here.
Okay, there you are. Hello, Dr. Harmon. All
Good
right. So
afternoon.
it's good to see you this morning. My friends must be just so much healthier than I am. And I'm so fortunate that they've been, out of their support for me, have been trying the patch. And today, you know, I love that you've covered everything from the benefits of GHK for the spine, for the heart, for COPD, for colon, for cancer growth, for anxiety. All right. So it just so happens, even though that's a broad range of everything, my question for you, since none of my friends seem to have these particular situations, is the overall healing ability of these patches. Because the message that I need to give these friends is not specifically about symptom relief. It's about longer term care. And I've heard you talk about this before, and I think maybe I just need to hear it again. What can I just say on, without the symptom relief component, why is this a good thing to do?
Well, one of the things that you also we want to be careful about is being symptom specific. And so it's really good that we come about it from more of a full health standpoint. So things like bringing up the study, the cardiovascular study that's actually in our back office, wearing the patch for 6 weeks reverses the age of the cardiovascular system by 2 months. So every day you wear that patch, your cardiovascular system gets better. It reverses its age by more than a day, like a day and a half. For each day that I have that patch on, my cardiovascular system, the age of my cardiovascular system reverses by about a day and a half, somewhere around there, a day and a third. So just that alone, think about what's the number one killer. There's two of them, cancer and cardiovascular disease. So if you can improve your cardiovascular system, everything about our health is going to improve. So that's a foundational thing. And then if you bring up this brain study that was done, 6 weeks of wearing the patch, improves brain coherence. What is that? That's the brain has to communicate side to side, front to back. So I do those EEGs in my office and we see, man, somebody's brain is way out of balance. They got too much of this on this side, that causes anxiety, or too much of something else on the other side, that causes depression. We can regulate that back down into within normal limits, the symptoms go away. Do we cure anxiety and depression? No. It just helps with brain regulation and gets the activity closer back to normal so that it can work right, so that symptoms go away. So cardiovascular system, brain, what are some of the other things? Well, reverses aging, decreases wrinkle depth, smooths skin. It depends on where their interests are. If somebody's really healthy, then we talk about anti-aging. You know, you want to stay healthy. Keep your cells healthy. Keep your cardiovascular system healthy. Those are all really beneficial things to do. Does that help?
I think you just nailed it, because I mean, everybody would be interested in what you're discussing. If you've got anything to throw in on digestion, then I think you've got like this, you absolutely nailed it here.
Well, that's one of the things, Sandy, is that they found that the stem cells seem to go to help the immune system get better first. You're not going to feel that. And then the gut. My gut changes happened at 2 months. I didn't have any big changes when I first started. I didn't have a huge shift. I didn't have this wound that healed. I had gut changes at about 2 months. So it's important to tell them, you know, your body fixes things kind of slowly. It doesn't happen overnight. If somebody has something that's measurable, like pain or something that they can see or feel on the outside, and then that goes away in the first few days, hey, that's great, you know. But if they have something that changes very slowly over a period of 4 months, they don't even notice, like my hair turning brown. I had to have somebody else tell me that. Hey, John, do you realize that your hair's turning brown again? Oh, no, I didn't notice. So come about it from a core health prospect.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And well, you just top lined cardio, brain, digestion, and anti-aging. Mm-hmm. Perfect. All of that benefits. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more questions, Dr. Harmon, one from Margaret, and after that, Jackson. So Margaret, go ahead and unmute yourself.
So my question, I have 2 if I can. I think they're short. Places to put the patch on the back at C7 and somewhere between your belly button and your symphysis pubis. Are those recommended just because that's where they were placed for the studies? Because I've heard several people say you can put the patch anywhere, and the closer you put it to what's not working, if you have something physical, the better. What is the research that you've done, and does it matter?
The reason they say C7 and 3 finger widths below the belly button, because those are conceptual vessel and governing vessel acupuncture points. They have very powerful effects systemically. I have to tell you right now, I had my knee replacement surgery. I have X39 straddling the incision site. I usually don't wear 2, but I'm a guy, and more is better, right? So I put one on either side. Now, here are the finer points of patch placement. I would move them, not do it in the same spot. And if you have ever done any muscle testing, have you done any? I'll do a quick muscle testing, self muscle testing lesson. Okay. So here's an X39. I'll take half of the backing off. I'll test my muscles like this. I'm just testing like this. I'm pushing against one muscle, okay? Find out what that is before I put that X39 on there. I'll gently set it there and immediately test again. If it goes weak, that's not your spot for the day. I do that with all my patches. With the energy patches, it says to put them right here below the clavicle. Sometimes I put them down on K1, K2, right on the bottom of the feet. And all you have to do, you don't even have to take the paper backing off. You just put the clear part facing up, stand on it, put the other one underneath the foot, and then raise yourself up and test. And if it's not for you, this arm will just go weak. You'll push and there's just nothing, and put them in a different spot. I did a training on this on a Wednesday night a couple of months ago. I have the recording of it that I could post if people are more, interested in self-testing. It's unusual to put it right near the scar, but I test and it said, wow, it's okay. And it's not like there's only one spot on your body, but there are probably a couple where you're not going to get the best benefit. That's all you're testing for. You're still going to get benefit from putting it anywhere on the body. But there apparently are certain points you won't get as much benefit, and your body's telling you that, like, hey, that makes me weak. I don't know why, but it makes me weak. So those kind of the finer points of testing yourself. For the sleep, it says right here, and there's some down the body, right? So lightly put it here, do a muscle test. Nah, that's not it. Put it here, that's not it. Put it between the toes. Yeah, that's the one. Or you can just try it for one night and then the next night put it in a different spot and see if you sleep better. I like the muscle testing a little bit better.
Thank you. The other question is, I heard when you were talking about cancer cells with stem cells, was that you have potentially decreased or a greater loss of malignant cells. Maybe not. I'm not sure if that's what you said. But my question is there anything that you've said, or can you say that for people that have a cancer, like I have a husband that passed away from a multiple myeloma, and he had cells that went crazy, right? And do the stem cells ever exacerbate? Has there been anything that's shown when this is optimized that it causes something like that? Anything? Or is the other?
Well, unfortunately, it's Margaret, right?
Yes.
We can't talk about those things as far as telling somebody, use this patch because it's going to inhibit cancer growth. What I was showing is what researchers have found, but that's how it starts, right? You get these different studies, and then somebody verifies that, they duplicate it, and then they do it again, and they do it again, and then they show that this does this. What they're showing is that the GHK copper peptide, not the stem cells, the GHK copper peptide helped reset the apoptotic system in cancer cells, meaning it didn't affect normal cells, but because cancer cells are growing too much, right? They're just keep replicating. But if it can help reset that down closer to normal, then you don't have as much growth. That's what that's saying. How that affects any individual person, be really careful in, not promising, but talking about that. You can show them different research. This is what it says. And then people are going to ask you, can I take it? Can I use it while I'm doing chemo? Can I do it when I'm doing radiation? My personal opinion, and what I tell people, I say, well, wait till you're done with that. Because you don't want to get in trouble with the oncologist. Sometimes things happen as a coincidence. And if they call it a temporal relationship, you gave me this, and then my cancer cells started growing more. But actually, they would have started doing that anyway. It often almost happened to me in my practice. One of my patients had an appointment set for the afternoon. He had a stroke in the morning before he came to my office. What if he had an appointment in the morning and had a stroke in my office? They would have said that I caused it, right? But it was a pure coincidence. So I would just be really careful in what we say about how it can or cannot help cancer. And we want to stay compliant. I probably not the most helpful I could be, but look at that. You can watch this recording and you can see what different research it's showing on helping reset the way cancer cells die off normally rather than just keep multiplying.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Harmon. Last question with Jackson. Jackson, unmute yourself.
Hello, Dr. Harmon. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Jackson.
How
Good to
you
see you.
doing, mate? I got a weird one for you. Okay, so being allergic to something, can the X39 help with something? So, for instance, me, what I've noticed personally, it was something I was going to say a couple of weeks ago. I'm allergic to cinnamon. Okay, so when I have the smallest bit of cinnamon, my belly blows up and I have the biggest gut. Like my stomach, it gets infected. You know, I have problems going to the toilet, shall we say. But what I've noticed lately is I had a cinnamon thing the other day, or a cinnamon bun, shall we say, but knowing it was coated in cinnamon. My belly didn't blow. So then when I found out about it, my girlfriend was like, hey, you know, there's cinnamon on that. And normally it's like with clockwork, within like 10 minutes, I'm done for a while. But nothing happened. So I went and had like a cinnamon muffin the other day because I like cinnamon. That's the thing, I like it. And it's not like I don't like it, but the fact is—
Wait a minute, isn't that the definition of insanity?
it's that sometimes you go, you know what, I know it's going to be terrible on me, but it tastes so good, so I'm going to jeopardize my life. If I die, I like it. So basically, what's going on now, as I had it yesterday, as again, like a cinnamon bun, and basically what I've noticed is that nothing's happening in my gut where normally for the last 10, 11 years, it's been chronic. So my question to you is, knowing that I was allergic to something, can it reverse that? Is it possible? Or is my body just getting older and just give up on that symptom?
Well, let's talk about that briefly. How do we get allergic to something? Okay. So we get allergic to something, or we develop a sensitivity to it because we had leaky gut. Think about, okay, the gut is a tube that goes through our body, open at both ends. It's really, the inside of our gut is not really part of our body. It's part of the outside. You know, you got the mouth, and then the other end, stuff comes out. And our body acts on that food as it passes through the body to get from it what we need and keep everything that we don't need out, and it leaves as waste. If you have, and the lining of that digestive tract, they're like the red velvet rope guys, you know, at the club in New York. You get in, not you. You know, not you, not you, not you, not you, only you get in. So its job is to keep out undigested food particles, bacteria, mold, you know, all those things. Keep it out. Don't let it into your bloodstream. Because if it gets past the red velvet rope guys, now you have a whole piece of cinnamon in there. That's a foreign invader. Your body says, your immune system turns and looks, you're not supposed to be here. Hey, boys, get him. Now your immune system attacks the cinnamon, makes an antibody. So I'll be ready every time that foreign invader gets into the bloodstream. I'm going to be ready. And I'm going to cause you to get bloated, the big histamine response, I get sinus problems, blah, blah, blah. That was my whole life. I came to earth with gut issues. My mom had to take antibiotics a lot when I was a kid. And it was a lifetime of overcoming that. And so now, rewind. You can get rid of food allergies with an elimination diet. Don't eat it for a while. Fix the gut. If the gut's fixed, that piece of cinnamon, undigested, doesn't get into your bloodstream. That makes sense?
Yeah.
That's why you're not getting a response anymore, because it healed the lining of your gut.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's crazy. Like it's like night and day completely.
Oh,
It's
I
like
know.
I don't feel it anymore. So now I'm like, okay, do I go ham on the cinnamon? No, I'm not going to, but it's just nice to know that it's like a nut allergy for someone. They literally can't be nowhere near it, you know? And
Yeah.
it was like that with cinnamon. It's the most pathetic thing in the world. But you know what? I'm happy that I'm on the cemetery again. I just wanted to ask the question, that's all. Because obviously my gut, I feel great. Everyone on there, you know, a lot of you guys feel great. So
Yeah, but it's very pertinent for a lot of people because it's a very prominent problem that's very common. Now, you know, people come into my office and they're allergic to so many things, they don't know what to do. You have to fix the gut. Well, the X39 helps fix that gut. It's good at healing things and regenerating. And then you got the stem cells going on. So most people are not going to understand that part. And that's why Sandy's question was important. You know, it helps fix these systems so that your plumbing works, so that your, you know, all of these different, your immune system's huge in your gut as well. Now, David Schmidt says that you can improve the effect of eliminating the sensitivity to foods or other things. Take one Aeon patch, and you don't even need to take the paper backing off. Just put the clear part right here, lie on your back, put it on your third eye right here, and put one over your belly button. And then take the food that you're allergic to and just hold it on your chest for 10 minutes. And it somehow is very similar to other allergy elimination techniques. That's what David Schmidt says in an interview one time. So you could try that too. Get a little glass cup or something, put the cinnamon in it, put it here and here. But it sounds like you're doing well without that. So you're good. Do you want to see all my tattoos that I have?
Dr. Harmon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. I'm going to mute everybody. Just give Dr. Harmon a nice warm round of applause for today. Woo!
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harmon.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. So thank you, Dr. Harmon.
29-year-old doctor.
Yeah, 29-year-old.
So thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Harmon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You had enough brain food for your wealth. We have brain food for your health. You know, we don't do a lot of training, but when you do, you get Dr. Harmon. So enjoy your Halloween, everyone. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it'll be myself and Beamy and 2 incredible testimonials. And go trick or treat and don't eat too much candy. You have to wake up tomorrow for gym. So bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.